Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. It is Ringside Report. We are live. I am Dave. There is Freddie. There is AJ. The crew is here. What's up, boys? Everybody good? We got MMA to get to. We're going to preview the UFC going on this Saturday night. Dustin Poirier versus Dan Hooker. UFC Vegas 4. The fourth UFC Vegas. They are still in Vegas. They are stuck in the Apex. And we will preview that event in a little bit. But before we do, I want to welcome back to the program. He is known as Sled Dog. You may call him Tuhan. You may call him Grandmaster. I call him Phil. I call him the man. Here he is of the Gamma Gym. Sifu as well. Phil Gelinas.
Sifu.
Phil, thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. Very kind of you.
Phil, I am a student of yours. I am a Gamma Gym supporter. I have been for, I don't know. It's been at least 10 years since I've been going to Gamma, right?
It's been longer than that.
Yeah, it's been longer than that.
Yeah.
And this, I think in the stretch that I've been going to Gamma, I think this is the longest stretch because of the pandemic that I haven't actually seen you in person. So it's good to see you.
Well, thank you very much. It's even though our seeing in person is kind of over some kind of waves, right? So we both know we're alive. That's all that matters. Right?
That's it. It's good to see you, and it's good to know that Gamma is back open. When I saw on Facebook that you guys were opening back up, I was very excited. I was excited for you. I was excited for Guillaume. I was excited for all the students that go to Gamma. Gamma, of course, more info, MontrealMartialArts.com. It's located at 1121 St. Catherine Street West on the 5th floor near Peel Metro. And you guys are back open, but I wanted to have you on the show to talk about how exactly you're open and what the situation is and what kind of stuff you're offering. So Gamma's open, but it's partially open because gyms have just been allowed to start reopening, what, this week, right?
Yeah, I think Monday. Monday was the first day that they let it happen. And, of course, they made sure that it was like 2 days before St. Jean-Baptiste, so they could quickly shut the doors if anything went wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, gosh. Anyway, so, but really what's happening is that they've given a list of requirements. So you have to follow the COVID-19 requirements, and that is that the teachers have to wear masks when teaching. Everybody has to do social isolation. You have to clean, if you use equipment, you have to clean it up right away. So what basically you have to do is you have to kind of buy a whole bunch of, or obtain a bunch of bins, those large bins, those 200 liter bins or whatever they're called. And you have to, for example, if you have a skipping rope, once used, it goes in there and somebody has to clean it. And so you have this whole protocol of cleaning, wearing gloves, wearing a face mask, whatever you're going to do, you don't want to catch whatever there is because it seems that it's pretty easy to catch if you don't watch out.
Now, are you worried about going back to work? I assume you've been isolating, you've been staying home. Now that you're going back to the gym and people are coming in contact with you, are you a little bit worried about being in an enclosed space with so many people?
Well, I guess so, but but then I mean, I don't want to sound like those guys in the States, that are all going out to beaches together going, this was BS. There's no such thing as COVID-19. You go, yeah, you tell that to all the dead people.
Right.
There are 100,000 of them in the States, I mean, it's not like it didn't happen. The problem with a disease like this isn't the fact that it's scary. It's the fact that we don't know about it. And what is a big thing about, when you watch horror movies? Horror movies are because you don't really know. It's not like, oh yeah, this is where that shark comes along and that does this thing. I mean, remember when Jaws? It was like you didn't see the shark until like near to the end of the movie. Then his big mouth opens up and almost swallows Richard Dreyfuss, and he goes, "Oh, okay." But up to that point, it was like, eh. So people didn't know very much about COVID-19, and they still don't. The thing is that this is a new disease. This is something that we haven't spent a lot of time studying because there wasn't anything to study. It mutated. I mean, I'm told that there's mutations of it now that have mutated. So whatever you think you're going to use against it, you can't. But I think they're going to find out that an awful lot of the problems that they had were kind of okay. It's not so much that they are problems; they are things that you just don't know about. And so once you figure out how to do it, it's kind of like look. Have you ever installed a bathroom like a toilet in your bathroom? It's until you've never done it. If you've never done it before, it's really awkward and confusing. And why on earth are we having all these pipes, etc.? And all of a sudden you go, oh, that pipe is for the water. That flushes the toilet. Oh, that's great. That's a good idea. But I guess I should put the tank on the back so they can accumulate there without spilling all over the floor. There are all these little things that if you don't know, it seems like a big deal, but it's not really that big a deal. It's just one of those things where, of course, they would tell all these stories about the doctors died and the nurses died and thousands of old people died and this happened. And you go, hey, the reality is that people do die all the time. I don't want to be like, oh wow, this is what happened. Right. But it's really that is the truth. And the fact is, we have to get to the point where if everybody sort of sits there, I remember reading a book in the 70s about this I don't know, I guess it was a king and his court. They were isolated in a town that was, that had a virus, not a virus, but it had a disease, like a bubonic plague or something like that. And so they decided not to go out. And they all died in there. So, but they didn't get sick. They just starved to death. So,
right.
There's the problem.
Yeah, that's it. And, there's only so long we can wait, right? There's only so long we can wait in the unknown before we say, okay, well, let's kind of dip our toe in the water and see what happens, right? And that's kind of what's going on right now. We're reopening things. We're seeing what happens, and we're slowly kind of trying to crawl back to normal. But as far as the actual in-gym action, what are we talking about here as far as what's going on in the gym? What kind of martial arts are you offering right now?
Okay, well, we have our primary function is as a Muay Thai gym. That's the thing that we do most often. Then we do Jeet Kune Do, which is the system that Bruce Lee put together. We also have Kajukenbo, which is a Hawaiian self-defense art, a lot of body conditioning. And we do something called Kali, which is a Filipino weapon-based fighting art, and which seems to be experiencing an awful lot of a bit of an upswing. I've already taught about 2 or 3 Zoom classes for approaching 100 people at a time, so things have been working out pretty well.
Now, as far as the in-gym Kali, I've seen you guys do it. I've seen you hitting the sticks. Can you do that at a distance? Like when you're doing, I don't know what to call it. I'm sorry, I'm not a Kali guy. But when you're hitting, you have the sticks, the other guy has the sticks, and you guys are hitting sticks and you're showing techniques with the sticks. Can you do that now?
Okay. If you're not touching each other, like if you don't have your gloves off and you're going out, like what's it called, E.T., go home or whatever it is. You're not touching your finger. You're not doing that stuff. You're basically what you're doing. Okay, what we have is we have gloves with rubber coatings for the people to hold the gloves, so that if they do something, they will not make a contact with the stick. So even if the stick has contact with another person, it won't. The person won't catch it because they're wearing rubber gloves, rubberized gloves. They're rubberized on the surface and on the fingers, but not on the back. So they breathe a bit. Mm-hmm. And so you can do that. We do something called Sinawali, which Sinawali means weaving, and that's when you hit the other person's stick, and you can do a little bit of that kind of stuff. The problem is that if somebody does that, they would have to wear a mask, because when you approach that close, you will be about 3 or 4 feet away from each other, and that's not cool as far as the social isolation is concerned.
That's it. So it's getting there, but it's not quite where it was pre-pandemic, right? Like it's not. You can't quite have the same training. Do you feel like you're able to instruct the same? Do you feel hindered by this?
Yeah, I taught a class last night, or not last night, 2 nights ago, and it was really awkward because you kind of. I'm a hands-on kind of guy. I when I was doing jiu-jitsu, it was hands-on. All the stuff was always hands-on, and so when you do that, you don't have it's not as easy to show the techniques you want to show unless you actually show it on a person. So you have to it kind of reminds me of some of my Zoom classes. You're doing this like, okay, so now do this. And the person does it, or sort of what it is. And you realize after a while, it's like, okay, you're going to be doing the best you can. And that's as close as you can get until you actually, it's like a jiu-jitsu hold. If you go and you're holding the person's arm, but not holding their arm like 5 feet away, you're not going to, the person goes, it's kind of like people, like little kids playing Cowboys and Indians, and somebody comes up and goes, bang, bang, I got you. No, you missed. And they run away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's hard.
Goes, if I had a real gun,
It's exactly. hard, right? When do you think, like, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, Muay Thai, sparring can come back?
I don't know. I mean, it's. I think what's happening is like they are checking out what happens. If they're looking at everything and everybody and saying, okay, what chance is there of a pandemic? I mean, I hear when people went out to a couple of rallies in the States, or they went out to the beaches, or they went out, and then the COVID-19 spread like wildfire. That's what So they're probably watching out for that. The reality is that if people take baby steps and do it slowly, they're going to get more and more and more and more happening, and maybe this much fabled herd immunity will start taking effect. The reality is that there are not enough people who have been affected by that, and there's not enough ways to find out how to proceed other than by using the word slowly. So until we get an idea about that, you hear all these people in the States going, you have to get back to work. Well, as I heard one of the guys saying, it's never poor people saying that. It's always the rich guys who are making money from you doing that work who are saying that.
Right. That's a very solid point. And Phil, I have to ask you selfishly, I did jiu-jitsu this afternoon with my brother. Okay, we rolled. I bought a bunch of mats before the pandemic, and I set them up in my living room. Last week we had our first session. I have a bubble now, a social bubble. So last week he came over and we rolled. We had a great session. Came back today. We did it again. Could we go to Gamma and do this? Are we allowed? How does that work? Because we're doing it here.
But the problem is we don't have any mats on the second floor anymore.
Yeah.
We've part of Gamma's new incarnation is the fact that we had, before we had this place, we had that large 160, 120 foot long place next door that had was about 30 feet wide, and all of the spaces in our building now are about 30 feet wide. So they gave us 2 spaces at 60 foot long each. But the problem is that they have posts in it, and they're kind of you kind of get in the way. So you want to do it, you want to try doing it, but you can't. It's not the same thing at all. So I think that it's going to take some time. It's just basically you're going to take time. People aren't going to okay it, but if you have ensured that your social distancing works and that you and your brother keep on going, you'll be the best guys except for maybe the guys that Jim was talking about before. Like, haha.
Yeah, I mean, we won't be the best guys, but we'll be better. We'll be better than we were. I mean, the best. I mean, come on, Phil. You know us here. We won't be the best, but we'll be good. We'll be all right, and we will keep going. And I understand with the social distance, like, do you have to make class sizes smaller to accommodate and to kind of give enough space between everybody?
There is a size component involved in the COVID-19 restrictions. So you have to have about a 10 foot by 10 foot ring. So we found we have room for 14 of those in our space. And so and quite honestly, we were a fairly we did not have a lot of people. We had we basically survived by the skin of our teeth, and because that's how we did it. So sometimes, we would have 2 or 3 people in a class. You wouldn't have 20 people in a class. Yeah, you start thinking that the Muay Thai is probably the place you'd see that more than anything else. Mm-hmm. But the Jiu-Jitsu had a few people. The Catch Gimbal, less than 10. the Cali, maybe 10 sometimes. But the thing is, after a while, you realize that you don't need a lot of people. You just need the right people.
Yep. Yeah, you can say that again. Now, how has this affected your teaching, your business overall? I know that you have a Zoom class that you're giving in like 40 minutes to a guy in India. Now you're always traveling, you're always going to teach a seminar in Asia and Europe, you're all over the place. Now obviously travel is restricted, but has your teaching changed as far as, are you doing more Zoom classes? I feel like a lot of martial arts people are doing a lot more online these days. Has that changed for you? Are you doing more?
Well, I never did one before, so anything more than one or more than none is some. So yes, so and by that definition, yes, I am doing more. But what I'm starting to realize that, see, the thing is, I'm not a big fan of, do you know who I think I am? That kind of guy. So I don't really walk around going, I should be able to do this. I should be able to get 100 people over there. I should be able to do this. So as a result, I'll sort of go somewhere and then somebody will go, wow, it's really great that you came out all this way. Well, yeah, but you asked me to come teach a seminar. Yes, but we thought you'd be booked for 4 years in advance. And would that my name isn't Dan Inosanto, so would that be true? Well, that would be nice, but no, it's not true.
No,
I see not that happening.
Sure. And you see, Phil, you're very humble, and that's why we have to have you on these shows and talk about all these accolades. Canadian Black Belt Hall of Fame, Phil. Okay, a black belt in several different disciplines, a Grandmaster, Tuhan, Sifu, and these are all titles that are earned through time and respect. Phil is one of the greatest martial artists that this country has ever known. Phil, you are a pioneer. I love you. I respect you. Okay, you are the man, Phil. And you're too humble, and I'm here to tell everybody, Phil Gelinas is the man, okay? Black Belt Hall of Fame, Phil.
Sled Dog brother, man.
Oh, well.
That's right.
Yeah, well, if I met me, I probably wouldn't be that impressed, so it was okay. Anyway, yeah, the thing is, the reality is that you do what you can. Even if you have a couple of accolades, the last thing you should do is take yourself too seriously, because I've met a bunch of people like that. It's funny because it was just, you look at a guy who probably has more fame in martial arts than anybody else in Canada would be like George St. Pierre. This is the nicest guy you'd ever want to meet. He doesn't sort of go, oh, I will talk to you later. He just, my son works at the Comic-Con. Or works at Comic-Con. That's part of his overall gig that he does. Anyway, he was doing some social media stuff, and he bumped into George, who was there doing some stuff as I guess it was the Winter Soldier movie. Anyway, my son said, oh, by the way, would it be possible? My father, he identified me, and he came, oh, wow, yeah, sure, I'd love to do it. So I was like, oh, wow. I mean, I couldn't. I used to work in rock and roll. I met, egos that you'd have to leave the room for them to come in there and change their mind. So that's the whole thing. You run into people like that and you go, I don't want to be that person. So, you work very hard to be as honest as you can. So.
That's right. And, just like George St. Pierre, the greatest martial artists are the most humble. And the ones that I respect the most and that I love the most are the most humble. And they are the best and the most badass and the ones that you have to be very careful around. And I know I have to be careful around you, Phil. I know I have to be very careful.
Choke him out. Oh, choke him out.
Oh, he will. Yeah. As soon as I turn my back, Phil's on me. Phil's all over me like a cat. So quick.
I'm surprised he hasn't already.
Yeah. Shit. Phil, you got me conditioned. I'm like, what's going on behind me? Okay.
I'm biding my time. Just biding my time.
I know. As soon as I get back into Gamma, I'm gonna know. I'm gonna get it. Phil, you are the best. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Go to MontrealMartialArts.com for more information on the Gamma Gym. MontrealMartialArts.com, 1121 St. Catherine Street West, right in the heart of downtown Montreal. You might see me there. You might see Phil there. You might see Guillaume there teaching Muay Thai and all sorts of other great people, great teachers. Just a great group of people, a great community. I love Gamma. I can't wait to go back. I love everybody there, and I'm really glad that you guys are back open. So, Phil, thank you very much for coming on the show, and thank you for everything that you've done for me personally. You know, I can't thank you enough. I'll never be able to thank you enough for everything that you've done for me and my brother, my family. I love you, Phil, and thank you for coming on the show.
Well, thank you very much, Dave. Thank you very much, everybody.
There he is.
And in the martial arts community, yes, there we are. Whoop, whoop, whoop. All right.
All right. You have to disconnect to us. We can't disconnect to you, so we'll say goodbye.
Okay.
Bye, Phil.
Goodbye.
Thanks, Phil.
There he is. Phil Gelinas.
Awesome,
I love that guy. You can tell I love that guy.
Oof. Listen, but not,
That's my
not only
guy
for
right
you
there.
guys.
Huh?
But listen, Dave, also for the martial art community. I mean, this guy's been a legend in the game for like 45 plus years. I mean, Phil's been around for so long. And being a sled dog, brother, I mean, that's a big name to have behind you. I mean, the guy has been known like around the world. He's very humble, like you said, but
Yeah.
he's also been behind a lot of training some big names that we spoke about.
He brought Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to Canada. He was the first guy to bring in a Brazilian black belt when he brought in Wagner Fabiano. He was the first guy to bring in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to this country. Phil Gelinas doesn't get enough credit for being the martial arts legend that he is. And I think we just lost Fred. Fred's frozen.
Freddie, don't say something. Fred, stay away from the light. Fred, stay away from the light.
Fred will be back.
Freddie, come on, Fred. So listen to this, Dave. What I was going to say is that when you look at Phil's gym, like Gamma back in the days, which I used to be at that gym, you're looking at like one of like really the gym to be for like mixed martial artists. Like the very first days of some of the big names, you name it, like from George St. Pierre, Pat Cote, Stefan Podvet. I remember these guys from way back, and they were all at Gamma. They were all training at Gamma. It was really the tri-star of the day in a sense.
Yeah.
You know?
It's the original gym. It's the OG spot, and Phil is the OG. Everybody in the martial arts community in Montreal, they know Phil. You know, if you've been around, you know Phil. Phil is the man. And, he was my first jiu-jitsu coach, my first Muay Thai coach. He's taught me so much. And the amount that he's taught me is just a tiny little fraction of what he knows. You know what I mean? Like this guy, he's a black belt in everything, and he has such a wealth of knowledge in all sorts of different martial arts. It's amazing that he's dedicated his life to martial arts, and it shows. You know, I see him teach, I see him do stuff. He does stuff with me, and I'm just like, wow, he's the man. He's the man. That's all I can say.
But Dave, that's why it's so important to do martial arts.
That's right. Yeah, Fred.
I was going to say my favorite moment was when you basically said you and your brother were doing something illegal in your living room, and then you asked him if it would be legal for you and your brother to go to his gym and do the same thing. That's basically what you asked him.
Yeah, I said, hey, Phil, my brother and I are fighting in my living room. Can we do it at the gym or what? Like, because we usually do it at the gym. So can we go to the gym? And I guess, what, it's illegal? Fred, you're doing it too?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it was a funny question to ask him. Because, you're supposed to social distance, so technically you're not allowed to grapple with your brother.
Even if you're in a bubble?
I'm with you.
Yeah, I thought if you're in your bubble, you could touch him. So my brother's in my bubble. I grapple him. I grappled him last week. We did 7 5-minute rounds today, boys, all right? We had a good session. Wow. Yeah, we rolled hard today. And Fred, you got people coming to your backyard. You got an underground jiu-jitsu club. You got Fight Club. I thought we weren't supposed to talk about Fight Club. Yeah, no one's gonna. Fred, are we gonna get you arrested, bro? Are we allowed to talk about your Fight Club in your backyard?
I don't know, man.
I don't know.
You posted pictures on Facebook. Man. What?
Listen, what happens in Fight Club stays in Facebook.
From last year, man.
Exactly, they're last year's
and if you notice, I posted also a video, but if you noticed, I'm not in the video. So
I know.
I'm writing.
I saw that.
Smart, Freddie.
I saw that.
Smart, Freddie.
Well, let's just say, hypothetically, Fred might have an underground jiu-jitsu club operating out of his backyard on the south shore of Montreal, and I might have an underground jiu-jitsu meeting with my brother in my living room. And It's hypothetical, allegedly.
Freddie,
but hey,
but
Phil's
Freddie
right
doesn't
though.
charge. Freddie doesn't charge.
Freddie doesn't charge, and neither do I, brother. All right, AJ, you're welcome to come over. I'm gonna smash you, bro. I'm gonna beat your ass, AJ.
You're allowed to protest, man.
But do you see what Phil said? Phil's right. You know, he said, you know, when everything opens back up, my brother and I are gonna be super sharp, really good. And I just got the word. Allison says you're not allowed to come over and fight me, AJ. You can't come over. You're not welcome in the bubble. Fred can come though. Oh no, she says no Fred. She says no Fred. Sorry. You guys can't come over and roll with me. I'm not allowed. I would allow it, but you know, my better half tells me no, so.
I'll tell you
She's
what,
smart,
from my
buddy.
gym, you know, I think that I'm getting like an edge because I'm training right now, but I've noticed, like I've heard from other people that I'm not the only one with an underground fight club, you know, like
No.
the other day I was rolling with my buddy and I'm like, man, you got better, man. How could you get better in the last 3 months when you didn't do nothing? And yeah, at some point he admitted that he's been rolling for 3 months with somebody, you know, like he meets up with another person. So I'm not the only one, man. I'm not the only one.
Look, man, we're trying to stay sharp. We're martial artists. We love martial arts. We love jiu-jitsu, and it's been a long time, okay? Fred and I, we held off for months, right? Fred, how many months were we off? Till like from what, mid-March till
almost 3.
Almost 3 months off jiu-jitsu. That's bullshit, man. We can't do that forever. So we had to get back to it. All right? We're back to it.
Dave, you know what the problem is that most people don't realize when you're a martial artist, which a guy like Phil, who's been doing it his whole life, there's so much respect in our community and social distancing. You know what? It's kind of hard when you're wrestling or doing jiu-jitsu and whatnot.
It's impossible.
But the thing is that it's impossible. But when you're wrestling or grappling with a guy, say like your brother or Fred with one of his friends, we know like their habits. Like we're respecting our boundaries. We're not really going out into groups and like.
Fred's
honestly,
laughing
Fred,
at you, bro. You know why? Because Fred's got a crew. That's why. He doesn't know. Fred's not just with one. I'm with my brother. Fred's got like 6 dudes.
As long as those 6 dudes are over 6 dudes, it's fine.
Fred, you're the fucking best. Yo, Fred's been rolling so hard. I saw Fred yesterday for an unrelated thing, okay? I had to see Fred for a moment, right? Fred looks like he lost 20 pounds. I don't know what happened, but, like, I swear to God, Fred has lost, like, a bunch of weight. He's like, I don't know, Fred, you looked in great shape yesterday when I saw you. The jiu-jitsu is paying off. Unbelievable. Patrick C. Hamilton dropping
like 4 pounds.
Yeah, well, four looks like
the muscle is coming back.
Yeah, you look beautiful, brother. You look fantastic. I'm telling you.
But guys, think about this. Think about this. How does this make sense in Montreal? We reopen bars, but we're not allowed to open up like freaking martial art gyms.
I know.
How does that make sense?
Yo, Jason Morneau Pete on the chat said it perfectly. Jason Morneau Pete, he goes, I love how in Montreal you can now go to a swingers club, but you can't go to a jiu-jitsu class. Makes no sense.
Man, he's absolutely right.
He's dead on, brother. And I'm seeing Patrick C. Hamilton as well. He drops a super chat. Bring your better half on the show to be part of the debate. Well, I'll tell you what, Patrick.
Good idea.
She's never been on the show before, and it's going to take a lot more than a $5 super chat to get her on.
But I got a better idea. I got a better one here.
For real, though, if you want her on the show, you're going to have to pay because she's pretty. You know what I mean?
No, but we need her on the show, but without Dave, so that me and AJ could ask all the questions without Dave bumping in.
What?
You know, like we get the real...
Listen,
we get the answers we want.
What do you need to know that you don't think I'm going to tell you, Fred? I'm an open book. You know me. I'll tell you anything.
Freddie,
I know.
Dave, I got a great idea. Man. Listen to this. Why don't we go, and Jason brought up a good point, why don't we all go to a swingers club and just do jiu-jitsu there? Perfect. Done.
Yo, cool. And at the end,
man.
we'll fuck each other. I mean, just do jiu-jitsu, right?
We might catch something else than
North,
COVID,
South.
man.
Yeah, right? Yeah, north, south, naked. You know, in a swingers club, I think they make you take off your clothes, eh?
So what? For sure,
I had a friend. I had a friend who said he went to he went to one of them bathhouses. You know what I mean for dudes. You know,
nice.
Dude on dude action, right? And he was telling me you got to take off your. I was like, could I just rent a room and like go chill out, like smoke a number and like play some video games? You know, if I wanted to go to one of those places, do I have to have sex with a dude? And he's like, yeah, you don't have to have sex with a dude, but like, you know, you're gonna be seeing dudes having sex, and you got to take off your clothes when you go in. They like make you get naked, and then they give you a towel. So like, I don't know, man. I don't think we could go to jiu-jitsu at one of them places because we'd have to get naked. And I'm not rolling with you in just a towel because that towel's going to come off in a severe roll. You know what I mean? If we're really doing jiu-jitsu, that towel's coming off and it's going to get gross.
Listen, think about the early days of wrestling. The wrestling days of the Romans was nothing, not even a cloth. It was naked, man, straight up. Valetudo style.
Yeah, I'm not doing that, bro.
Air.
Can we talk about MMA now?
What?
You want to talk about Manscaped? Yeah. Manscaped!
Well, since you're talking about balls and Romans and looking clean.
You want to look clean?
Look at that, a lot more.
Are you going to a bathhouse? Make sure your balls are clean. Your balls will thank you with the Manscaped 3.0 lawnmower. Are you doing jiu-jitsu again? Do you have short little jiu-jitsu tights that you're wearing? Do you want to look tight? Do you want to look good? Manscape yourself. Trim those balls. Go to manscaped.com. Use the promo code Ringside20 and get 20% off your order plus free shipping. I'm using Manscaped. AJ's using Manscaped. Freddy's using Manscaped. Oh, yeah. AJ, weren't you supposed to give us your testimonial on your Manscaped? Fred gave us his. I gave you mine a few weeks ago, and now it's your turn. You weren't on the show last week, AJ.
Yeah,
you've been shaving your balls. You're an Italian,
Listen,
AJ. I know you got thick body hair, brother. What's going on?
I'm just gonna listen. Next week, I'm gonna give you my full rundown and a video. So it goes like this: above the waist, I'm like a Yeti. Below the waist, I'm silky smooth, man. Silky smooth.
Nice. Manscaped. Manscaped.com, promo code Ringside20. Manscaped.com, promo code Ringside20. 20% off your order plus free shipping. Go right now. I think our Manscaped promo code might be ending soon. Maybe next week.
What? Nah, Manscaped loves us. We're the ones who make the best commercials. I've seen some other guys, man. They don't even come close. We talk more about balls than anybody else.
All right. Your balls will thank you. Go to manscaped.com, promo code Ringside20. Go right now. Promo code Ringside20 to get 20% off your order and free shipping. What?
Listen, even Elias Theodoro gave us the thumbs up to use his picture in one of our ads on Instagram for Manscaped. He says, yeah, man, you could use me. Balls up.
Balls up. What does that mean? Balls up.
You never heard that? It's an old saying, man. Balls up.
Yeah, it means things are going wrong. Things are going balls up.
Well, that's balls down, buddy. That's balls down.
No.
Get with it, Dave. Get with the 80s, man.
No. What do you mean, get with the 80s? I was born in the 80s. Is that what you mean?
You were born in the 80s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did you think I was born? What decade?
A little bit.
What decade did you think I was born in? The 70s? How old do you think I am?
Manscaped for all ages.
I don't understand. What decade did you think I was born in? The 90s? I'm not that young.
Well, you look very young.
The expression is balls up, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I said.
That's what I said, man.
No, balls up.
That's what I said. Balls up.
Yeah, okay, and what does the expression mean, Fred? Balls up. It means what I said, right? Everything going wrong.
Yeah, a mess.
Thank you, AJ. You fucked up again.
No. Where did you get that? That must be from some No. What's the source? The source is wrong.
Why would you ever question
Google.
me on like an English expression? You get all your expressions wrong, AJ. What are you talking about, bro?
No. In Ireland, they support everything I say.
No. 85, man. 85. Where are you born? Where are you born in? Let's see, 1970, right? 70?
Quiet.
69? 69, AJ?
Dave, quiet, man.
Probably 69, because last
69.
year, when
Holy
was his
shit.
50th?
Last year.
His 50th was last year.
So 69.
These guys, man.
Oh,
Yep.
69. AJ, you were born in the 60s?
It's my favorite number, but no. But anyways,
Let's
carry on, man. Carry on.
Wow.
Yes, he was.
The 60s, man.
These guys, man.
Hippies, the Kennedys. What a different time you lived, AJ. So you remember
Lee.
the 70s? That's why Bruce Lee's such a big deal for you. So you remember like the 80s and like what they were like. Wow, AJ, what a life you've led.
I remember the 80s.
I don't remember the 80s at all in any way.
Boy George.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson.
Cyndi Lauper.
No. Hulk Hogan.
Can
Hulk
I ask
Hogan.
a question that maybe people don't want me to ask?
Yes.
What, Freddie?
Yes.
All right, since we're all in conspiracies and all, why do Michael Jackson's children look like the white Michael Jackson? It's a
The
serious
youngest
question.
one does. No, but he looks like Michael Jackson big time. The youngest one looks like Michael.
But it's a true question.
Big time.
I don't know.
I'd like to have an explanation.
Well, I don't have an explanation for that, but since you're going into conspiracies, let's try to veer back into MMA, and let's talk about UFC cut man Don House.
How about Bruce Lee?
Fred will be able to explain this to us, AJ. I don't really think I know what QAnon means, but QAnon
What is
is
that?
like an internet thing. I think it's about pedophiles, so Michael Jackson, there's a tie-in there, right?
What? No,
UFC,
no.
take it easy, bro. Take it easy.
No.
So UFC cut man Don House was spotted wearing a QAnon patch on his gear last weekend during the UFC show. So he's a cut man, and on his shirt there was a Q patch, and that Q is it's a symbol of the QAnon internet movement.
What?
And, like, I don't really understand what that means. Fred, you are the internet
explain.
conspiracy theorist on the show. What is
Now I gotta watch it.
QAnon?
It's a lot of stuff, man.
I'll
But
read you the
basically what they
Wikipedia.
stand for-
It's a supposed secret plot by an alleged deep state against U.S. President Donald Trump and his supporters.
What?
The theory began with an October 2017 post on the anonymous image board 4chan by someone using the name Q. It later became a group of people claiming to have access to classified information involving the Trump administration and its opponents in the United States. Q has falsely accused many liberal Hollywood actors, Democratic politicians, and high-ranking officials of being members of an international child sex trafficking ring, and has claimed that Donald Trump feigned collusion. He faked collusion with Russia in order to enlist Robert Mueller to join him in exposing the pedophile ring and preventing a coup d'etat by Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, and George Soros. Holy shit, that's what QAnon is? According to Wikipedia, that's what it is. What the fuck? People really believe this shit, Fred? Come on. People on Fred's internet believe it. People on Fred's people that Fred follows on Twitter fully believe in this whole thing, right? George Soros is an evil reptilian.
No, rewind. All right. If you're not going to let me talk,
I'll let you.
I'm
done. I'm done, Fred. I'm sorry.
So Jeffrey Epstein, was he a pedophile?
Yeah.
Did he have a lot of friends in Hollywood and all that?
Yeah.
All right, man. I'm just saying. Okay. QAnon might be a lot of crazy people. I won't deny that. But let's not just dismiss it's completely impossible that there's a network of pedophile, man. We just had one guy that disappeared or suicided himself in some fucking weird way with a lot of ties to a lot of powerful people. So
can I tell you something, Fred? I believe
basically stands for question everything.
Okay.
And that's what the Q stands for.
Can I tell you something?
He's got a point.
I watched the Epstein documentary, and as you know, I love a good conspiracy theory. I just think most of them are bullshit. But I do believe in a global elite pedophile ring. I do believe in that shit. I believe that is going on.
So
I saw that Jeffrey Epstein shit.
There.
He had too many powerful friends. The shit doesn't add up. Something was going on. I mean, if Prince Andrew was involved with that shit, do you really believe that fucking Epstein was only allowing Prince Andrew to get involved with that shit? Hell no.
Hey,
there were a lot of very
secret.
rich, very powerful people doing shit to kids on Epstein's island. So I fully believe in that. The fact that Donald Trump is the only guy against them and there's some sort of coup d'etat by Barack Obama, I'm not buying that.
Yeah.
That's going too far.
Freddie, listen.
Yeah,
Freddie,
I think
listen
Trump
to this.
is part of the conspiracy.
I think Trump was
Hey,
probably
listen
on
to this.
Epstein's island. You got pictures of Trump with Epstein. Come
Listen.
on. Trump's
Yeah,
probably
exactly. They're all
he's
friends.
part of the global elite, Donald Trump, right? Just as much as
They're
Bill
all
Clinton
friends.
is.
Dave, listen to this, man. Back in 1998, guess who came to shake my hands when I was working in a hotel?
The
You wanted to
global
know what I
elite.
was
Oh my
doing.
God!
QAnon.
Yeah.
Don't tell me Jeffrey Epstein.
No.
Jeffrey
Close
Epstein?
enough. No. Even better. What was he doing in Montreal in 1998? He came to see me. Like, I was working in a hotel. He came to ask me a few questions. You just mentioned his name. He's royalty.
But you weren't a minor.
Prince Andrew.
Yes, sir. Oh,
But
yeah.
you weren't a minor.
AJ, man. I was a minor in the days, man, for sure.
Not in 1998.
Well, not really.
We just established that you were born in the 60s, dude. You weren't a
Why,
minor
buddy?
in 98.
I was a young spring chicken still. But the thing is, regardless, what was he doing in Montreal? And Epstein used to be in Montreal a lot. Makes you think. Brady might have a point.
I don't know. Right now, you don't make a lot of sense, AJ.
I just
What are
no.
you talking about? I just told you that Andrew was in Montreal and I shook hands with royalty, buddy. What more do you want?
Yeah, you shook hands with a
But let's get back to
pedophile.
the
Good
cut,
for you.
And he wasn't
Let's get back
sweaty
to the cut,
like they
man.
say he is.
Yeah, let's get back
Oh, yeah,
to the
what's up
cut,
with
man.
that?
I feel bad for him a bit because his explanation was basically that he liked, I forget what's the acronym there, W whatever, where it basically says like where we go, we all go as one or something like that.
All for one and one for all.
What is that? The Three
That's what
Musketeers?
That's what he said was his message, and I believe him on that. So I don't think the cutman should be like shamed or anything. And in the end, he feels bad because he put the UFC in a bad spot, he says, because him and Dana White are friends, and he doesn't want to put a friend in this situation. So,
Yeah, but,
look,
but
man,
did he put the patch
it happened,
on?
man.
Did he put the patch on?
People love to get offended by everything, man. I leave the symbol to the symbol-minded. I always say that. If you're offended by a symbol, man, you're pretty symbol-minded.
Oh, I just don't really understand why this man felt the need to put a patch on it. Like, he feels so strongly. Like, I just don't get people that feel so strongly about an internet conspiracy that they have to post a patch on their gear when they're on TV about it. It just seemed like, really, dude? Really?
The right to protest is for whatever you want, man. You can protest about
I know,
whatever you want,
I
man.
know. I just
Freddie's
QAnon.
got a point.
Protest.
Wasn't that the shit that
Freddie's got a
Roseanne
point.
was on and going all banana?
No clue. Iris.
Ooh.
I think Roseanne
Yeah,
was
oh my
like
God.
really into
I've
that.
only got to know QAnon since this Corona. I fell like on
Oh.
a video, and I'm going, what? And then I was
Uh-oh.
hoping that it was true that Tom Hanks was arrested for
Tom Cruise.
pedophilia, but I don't think that was ended up being
No,
true.
he wasn't. He wasn't. They said the whole
But I mean-
coronavirus thing was
but I
fake
mean-
and it was part of a global
that-
conspiracy. Like, come on, bro.
Now you're
Tom
mixing
Hanks, get
everything.
out
But
of here.
anyways,
Come on.
I mean, that guy, Isaac Cappy accused Tom Hanks and a bunch other of pedophilia, and then he ended up dead. So he's also part of this whole discussion. It's fun. Go waste some time on QAnon, man. And
Or
laugh.
don't.
I'm gonna
or
go
don't.
on it. I'm going on. I'm
Yeah,
going on
see
after
it.
the show to
Do
see
it.
this.
See, that's the
I am,
thing,
I'm doing
Fred.
it.
You are steering people like AJ there, and AJ's like, what? I didn't know that this was true. And then AJ
Make your
believes
own
every
mind.
word.
Make your own mind.
And then I'm gonna be contacting you guys at some point late tonight to tell you what
I know, because our Facebook chat lately has been you and Fred posting all your theories, and me trying to post a little bit of like pushback and a little like, sense as I see it, back at. But you guys have a lot of fringe theories that I don't really subscribe to, and I hear about it a lot, and I feel like I'm getting ganged up on in our group chat, guys. You guys are ganging up on
Fred,
me.
No. Fred has actually brought up some pretty good points.
I know.
Like, some of
I
those
don't.
stuff,
It's
you know,
like,
I'm
what?
like,
Okay.
I mean, Fred's
Epstein.
smart, man.
What did you think of Curtis Blades'
Fred
win over
knows.
Volkov last Saturday?
Oh my God! Are we
I
gonna
mean,
talk about
okay,
that?
my biggest takeaway.
I don't know. Why not?
Volkov sucks. That's my biggest takeaway.
You think so?
Volkov sucks.
Holy shit. He doesn't suck. I mean, he's all right. He just
No,
has no
man.
takedown defense. I tweeted out last week, if you're a Russian and you can't fucking defend a takedown, why are you fighting, bro? Quit fighting. Like, really? You're a Russian MMA fighter and you can't wrestle for shit? Go back to Russia and learn how to wrestle.
He's not a striker or anything either, man. Like, it's not as if he brings anything.
Oh, that's what he does. That's what he does. He's not a wrestler. I just don't understand how you could be a pro fighter, a professional MMA fighter from Russia, one of the greatest places on earth to be a wrestler, and this guy's got no takedown defense. He can't defend a takedown.
But listen, it's also about his size and everything. I think, like, because of this guy's 6'7" stature, I think it's all about striking. And you're looking at Blades, who set a record again in the UFC with the most takedowns. I think he broke that record in the 5th round. The thing is that you got a guy like Blades who's an awesome, awesome grappler. And he just played his game. It was really not the most entertaining fight of all. But Volkov couldn't get his game set. Like, he wasn't able to use his distance, which he wasn't using his game plan at all. His kicking game went out the window. His, like, keeping the distance, was out the door. Blades played his game, and it was going to be all, like, takedowns. And he said he was going to do that, and he did. And he broke a record doing it as well. So, you know what? Yeah. Thumbs up to Blades.
I thought Blades fought a perfect fight. He did what he needed to do. He eliminated Volkov's strength, which was the stand-up game, and he just took him down over and over again. But, of course, Curtis Blades was talking about how he's not getting paid by the UFC and how he's not happy with how he's being treated. So, of course, Dana White, even though Curtis Blades completely dominated in the main event and threw a one-sided beatdown on Volkov, Dana White was not impressed because, of course, Dana's mad at Curtis Blades. Let's hear from the UFC president, Senor Goof.
Yeah, I mean, he won. He talked a lot of shit coming in this week. I don't think you talked the shit that he talked this week and come in and perform like that, talking about ragdolling people and he's not getting paid and yada, yada. He should be getting a title shot. And, he gassed out at the end of the 3rd round, made it to the 5th and won the fight. Yeah, he won.
Dana doesn't sound too impressed. And Dana's like, oh, you're going to ragdoll. He did ragdoll him. That was like a complete one-sided tossing him around the octagon, ragdoll beatdown. But Dana White's not happy about it because, of course, Curtis Blades talked about how he's not making enough money in the UFC, like every other UFC main event fighter these days.
But you know what? It's all about entertainment.
Go ahead, Fred.
How about we put him against somebody that's going to have a little bit more wrestling defense and all that as next now? Let's put him. Let's test him against something better there. I don't have his record in front of me, but there has to be something better than Volkov to put in front of Curtis Blades. He's not in the title picture right now, unfortunately. I mean, look, it's DC and Stipe. They're fighting for the title, and Ngannou's next. There's no doubt Ngannou's before Curtis Blades. So
yeah,
what's there for Curtis Blades? Let's put him against somebody that could test. That's not going to get taken down so easily. That could actually test him.
How about Ben Rothwell?
Not bad. That's a decent one.
Fabricio Verdum as well.
That would be exciting. That's a good one.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, that's a good one. I could watch that also.
But Blades has beat a lot of the top guys. He beat Junior Dos Santos. He beat Alexei Oleinik. He beat Alistair Overeem. The only guy he can't beat is Francis.
Lost twice to Ngannou, though.
Yeah, well, he lost once to Ngannou back in 2016, and then he lost to him again in 2018. He's won 4 in a row since.
It would make no sense to give Blades a title shot.
No.
Ngannou. That's
no,
all
of course not. Of course not. It doesn't make sense to give him a title shot, but he's in the conversation. It's Stipe, it's DC. The winner of that fight takes on Ngannou for the title. And then after that, Blades might be in the mix if he picks up another win in his next fight. But like a Verdum, a Ben Rothwell, I think those would be a good solid test for Curtis Blades. I don't really know who else is out there at heavyweight. Right now, the heavyweight division is not very deep. We're just waiting for that Stipe DC fight to happen in August. I don't know if you guys saw Daniel Cormier's like, don't think it's going to be a stand-up war. This fight's going to be boring, guys. I'm going to win, and it's going to be boring. So DC's sounding like he's going to wrestle Stipe Miocic to a 5-round decision. That's what he's.
Not sure why people.
That's what he's planning.
I don't feel like Cormier is boring.
No, I don't think it's boring either. But DC's like,
but,
look,
especially Cormier. Cormier is not boring. Cormier is dominating. That's a different type of.
And even Curtis Blades, like, okay, he wrestled him and he did a lot of takedowns, but I like the ground game. I like watching a guy control another guy and the positioning and stuff. But with Daniel Cormier, it's like a whole other level. His takedowns are incredible. The guy is an Olympic-level wrestler. He's an incredible grappler. But, not everybody likes grappling like we do, man, right? People like the knockout, the highlight reel knockout. That's why Conor McGregor, Francis Ngannou, they're stars in the sport because they knock people out. People like that shit.
Look, there was a certain point in MMA or in the UFC where you had like the crowd booing people when they were like grappling or like they were in some kind of like half guard or full guard, and people didn't understand the concept of that this is actually a very dangerous position for someone on his back. So we still got to get through that hurdle. There's still people out there that like to see a knockout. You have a lot of the mainstream fans who or changeovers from boxing. They like to see that stand-up game. They like to see that knockout, especially in heavyweight. People like to see a heavyweight knockout. So when you don't see that, people can understand or relate to like wrestling. And that's why when Cormier says, I'm going to stick to my game, look, this is going to be his last fight of his career. He's going to do what he does best. He's going to grapple. And you know what? If he does what he does best, he's going to win. And you know what? In the end, you got to do what's best, not for what the crowd wants, but what's best for you.
Well, we'll see. I'm looking forward to that trilogy fight, Stipe and DC. I think it's going to be great. Derek Lewis right now ranked 4th, and Curtis Blades is ranked 3rd. So that fight makes a lot of sense. Maybe they throw Derek Lewis at Curtis Blades.
Yeah, but these rankings, man, sometimes they don't make sense. They don't make sense at all.
They don't really add up. But hey, all right, guys. UFC Poirier versus Hooker is this Saturday.
Who doesn't like the Hooker?
I don't know. Do you? I guess that's where you were last week, right? That's what Freddie was saying.
I know, Freddie. I was waiting for that. I couldn't defend myself.
I shared with you guys an article about like the Fertitta family on the chat, and they were saying like they come from Galveston, Texas, and supposedly over there's like one hooker for every 68 people in the city, and if you compare it like to Paris, it's one hooker for every 420 people. So Galveston is full of hookers. The city where the Fertittas come from supposedly is a hooker hotbed, from what I read. You see, you always learn new stuff.
Incredible, good facts.
You don't know where to go with that,
huh? Well,
yeah, that's a good one. I know where Fred was. I know where
that
was.
doesn't necessarily mean, Fred. The population of Galveston, Texas, is only 50,000. So that's not that many hookers.
Yeah, but one out of 62. It's a ratio thing, man.
Per capita, I understand it's a lot, the ratio. But if you actually number them, I mean, you said what? One in every 60?
68.
Okay, so one hooker for every 68 people in a population of 50,000. That's roughly, I don't know.
50,000 divided by 68. That's the answer.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
I don't have it in my head.
Come on, Dave.
Okay,
but okay, but per capita, it's still pretty high.
Wait, what did you say? 50,000
divided
by 68 is 735. So there's about 735 hookers in Galveston, Texas. Now, okay, you said one in every 400 in Paris. Paris population is 2.148 million. So,
divided by 400.
Divided by 400. That's 5,370 hookers. Far more hookers in Paris, Fred. Far more.
But
5,000.
Now imagine you're a guy looking for your future wife. Where would you rather be, Galveston or Paris?
Well, I guess
there's a much better chance that she's a hooker in Galveston.
That's
I'm just
true.
saying.
That's true.
What?
Hey, what's wrong with your future wife being a hooker? Hey, Fred, what's your problem? Why do you have to be so awful? I think there's no problem. You know, Dr. Dre said you can't make a hoe a housewife, but I disagree. I think you totally can. Haven't you ever seen Pretty Woman, Fred? Richard Gere had no problem.
Not at all. Richard Gere, man. That guy, he had it all, man.
What the fuck are we talking about? This show's gone off the rails. Okay.
Listen, man.
Do you want to see Mike Tyson fight John Jones?
Nah, that won't happen, Dave. Come on. Let's talk about the hookers. Forget about it.
You'd rather
You
talk
think
about
that's going to
hookers?
happen?
You're crazy.
Listen, there's no way Mike Tyson is going to fight John Jones. John Jones wouldn't have a chance with Tyson in the ring if it's a boxing match. But obviously, if it goes to an MMA match, it won't even come close. Tyson.
Why are they talking
Listen, I
about
love
this?
Tyson.
Why is Mike Tyson acting like
know.
he's going to fight again? What is this?
I mean, this is the
He is
first
gonna
I hear
fight.
about him fighting John Jones. So
Yeah, there's no way that's going to happen. I can see him.
John Jones was talking about it. You guys
teaching-
didn't see?
No.
nope, that one. But John, come on, that's just ridiculous, man. John
That
Jones
doesn't make sense.
doesn't like. You don't fight Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson's an old man. No matter
I
how
know.
in shape
What are you
he is
talking
right
about?
now,
He
he's
looks
an old
great.
man.
Freddie, not in the
He's still an
boxing
old
ring.
man.
He can knock you out, man. Doesn't matter, man. It's old man strength with experience. And Mike Tyson as a name. Forget it.
Here's John Jones. Look. This is his Twitter. I'm listening, Mike Tyson. And apparently he Instagrammed a thing saying, look, I'll do a boxing match if you come in and do MMA, and I promise I won't break any of your bones. He'll go easy on him.
You think Tyson's
It'd
going
be
to go
worse.
easy on him in the boxing ring?
Wait. Don't you remember what old man, 50-whatever-year-old Randy Couture did to James Toney?
Mm-hmm.
It'd be even worse now. John Jones against Mike Tyson, MMA. It makes no sense.
What about in a
Don't waste my
boxing
time.
match? Do you think Mike Tyson would whoop his ass?
Of course.
I think
Yeah?
Tyson probably wins. Yeah.
Today, though?
Of course.
Tyson in his 50s?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd be scared for the cardio, though.
Yeah.
I'd be scared that Tyson doesn't have the cardio.
I don't know, man. People believe in Mike Tyson a lot, but to me, he's like an older guy who, in his last fight, looked absolutely terrible. So I don't know. I don't think he should fight
And
whatsoever.
After a couple of rounds, also, I would think that his cardio, like Mike Tyson cannot go 12 rounds against nobody right now. I'm sorry. I don't
no.
believe that Tyson could look good for 12 rounds against even a low-level guy.
Well,
Look,
let's
apparently,
be honest.
Tyson's just talking about doing like exhibition fights and little charity things here and there. I don't think he's going 12 rounds
That's
with
fine.
anybody.
That's fine. Listen, if he does 3 rounds with John Jones, remember, John Jones has to box, which means he can't use his spinning elbows, he can't use his clinch game, he can't use his kicking game. And you got a Mike Tyson that is a boxer, who's going to be a boxer till he dies. That's Mike Tyson. He'll knock you out even on his deathbed. 3 rounds with
I
Mike
doubt
Tyson.
that.
If, listen, if he decides to give you a good liver punch or a good uppercut, you're going to sleep.
Okay. So last week at UFC Vegas 3, Montreal fighter, Quebec fighter Marc-André Barriot, the power bar, picked up a nice victory. So congratulations to Marc-André with a nice victory,
Bravo.
picking up $28,000 for the fight. Not a ton of money, but hey, at least he won. $14,000 to show, $14,000 to win. I'm looking at the payroll right now. Jim Miller actually made the most on this entire card. He was given $104,000 to show, $104,000 to win, and he won, making $208,000 on the night. His opponent, Roosevelt Roberts, walking away with $25,000. Ouch.
Ouch. Big time.
Josh Emmett, Shane Burgos went to war, had a great fight. Josh Emmett walking away with $152,000, 76 to show, 76 to win. That was a great fight.
But he's going to be out for a while because I think he effed up his knee or something.
Emmett?
Josh Emmett.
Yeah. Good fight, man. Crazy fight. And Curtis Blades picking up $90,000 to show, $90,000 to win, $180,000 payday. I agree he should be paid more. Come on, he's main
That's why
eventing a
he's
UFC
complaining.
card. Yeah, of course.
That's
You wouldn't
terrible,
complain?
man. Terrible.
Come on, man. I'd complain
I
too.
would be complaining for sure.
Yeah.
But that's the problem, and this is the ongoing debate, and it hasn't stopped. That's why Jones wants to leave his contract, and that's why we've got Cejudo, and we've got Conor, and we've got everybody complaining about, the salaries. And
Jones
this is a good
wants
reason
out.
for it, man.
Jorge Masvidal's not fighting because of money. Conor McGregor's not fighting because of money. George St. Pierre's not fighting because they won't offer the right deal. Nate and Nick Diaz aren't fighting because they won't offer the right deal. Amanda Nunes is like, it's not worth it to fight these people. She's not fighting. Nobody's fighting in the UFC anymore. All the big names, all the top champions are all leaving because the UFC's not offering either the right fight or the right money. You want to add another star to that list? Paige Vanzant. Paige Vanzant has come out and said that she made more money on Dancing with the Stars than her entire UFC career, all the fight purses combined.
That's
more
pretty
money
sad, man.
on Dancing with the Stars. Paige Vanzant's like, look, I make more money promoting a product on Instagram than I do fighting. And she has one fight left on her contract, and she plans to test the open market. Good for Paige Vanzant. Of course she's going to test the open market. She's a star.
They're probably going to
People
feed
care
her to
about
kill
her. Yeah, in her next fight, they're going to feed her. It's going to be rough. She'll probably lose, and then they'll offer her a lowball deal, and then she'll walk and make real money somewhere else. Or just do promotions on Instagram. Who cares? Stay on Instagram. Show pictures of yourself. That's what people want to see anyways. That's how Paige Vanzant's making her money.
Paige Vanzant, just with, like, if you open the opportunity to get sponsors, she probably, like, for her, a Bellator or whatever makes a lot of sense because she could make so much money from sponsorship. She's a big star. She's a beautiful girl and all that. She has charisma. She could make a lot of money from sponsors. Probably, let's say she goes to Bellator, she'll probably make more money from sponsors than from Bellator. But it will be better.
Freddie, you know what the problem is that these fighters were making money off of like promotions when they had like logos on their shorts, logos on their shirts. I mean, this is where the real money was. Sean O'Malley was yapping away this week, saying that he only received $3,000 from Reebok after apparently 1 million of his T-shirts were sold. You know, after you do the calculations and whatnot, it's very possible. Like, say that there was 33,000 T-shirts of O'Malley's name sold around the world at $30, say a pop. That's close to $1 million. It could make sense. So you're only getting $3,000. You know, that's the problem.
Oh, it's low.
The fighters are not making money off of Reebok. And they're not making money off the card. And they're not making money if they don't get fight of the night. And they're not getting many fights. If you're lucky, unless you're like Cowboy Cerrone, who had like X amount of fights in a year, most fighters are lucky to fight 1 or 2 times a year. And that's it. How do you survive? You know, we got to change it. Reebok deal wasn't good for fighters. And that's a given.
Yeah, and Paige Vanzant was one of those that they offered an extra sponsorship deal to, and she's still not happy with the deal. And you can tell, man, she's got how many followers here on Instagram? 2.5 million followers on Instagram. Wow. That translates, brother. You know?
Big time.
It's a lot easier on your body to take a bikini picture than it is to go fight, right? If you said, hey,
Absolutely.
Dave, you want to make 50 grand fighting somebody, or do you want to make 50 grand taking a picture in your underwear? I'll be like, well, I'll take the underwear picture. It seems a lot easier on my body, and I can do like 10 of those and make way more money. If the money's the same or the money's even better on Instagram for her, what's she fighting for? And that's sad.
What you're saying makes sense, but I'll go back to what I said earlier is that if she really likes to fight, then Bellator or whatever makes sense for her because she'll compensate that money, whatever. Bellator will probably offer her the same amount of money for showing up and winning than the UFC, plus she'll make so much more on sponsorship. So she's one of those athletes that maybe, should go away from the UFC.
I think she'd do well in Bellator or wherever. They treat her like the star that she is. She's a big star in the sport, and the UFC, they don't know how to treat their stars, you know? Fred, what is that? Is that just a normal gummy, or is it, like, infused?
It's a normal gummy.
Just normal, boy.
It's my Father's Day gift.
Oh, yeah.
Is it? Nice.
That's nice. I got underwear. Guys, let's get to the fights on Saturday.
What's happening?
I mean, let's get to the one fight on Saturday that I care about, and then we'll maybe see what else is happening. So it's Dan Hooker against Dustin Poirier. Poirier coming off that loss to Khabib in the title shot. Hooker's coming off 3 straight wins, knockout over James Vick, decision over Ali Quinta, and the decision win over Paul Felder. I saw a stat today.
I know. I heard it too. Go ahead, Dave.
The Paul Felder thing?
Yep, crazy.
That anybody that's ever beat Paul Felder has lost their next fight. No one has ever beat Paul Felder and lived to tell the tale. So Edson Barboza beat him the first time, Edson beat him and then lost to Tony Ferguson in his next fight. Ross Pearson beat Felder and then lost to Francisco Trinaldo in his last fight. Francisco Trinaldo beat Felder and then lost in his next fight to Kevin Lee. Like, no one has ever beat Paul Felder and then gone on to win their next fight. Mike Perry beat Paul Felder, lost to Cerrone in his next fight. And Dan Hooker is coming off a win over Paul Felder. I don't know. Did you see that too? It's weird. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know who.
so
I don't know who tweeted that out. Maybe it was the UFC. I saw that today, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah, it was our buddy Ariel. That's who it was.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But you know what? It is a crazy stat, and on top of it all, he's coming in from Australia, which was another like, how did he do it? And I heard an interview earlier today, in fact, where he mentioned his way that he got to the States, and it's crazy because like up to a week ago, he didn't even have a visa to get to this main card fight, but somebody pulled it off. Dana White has apparently some.
From what I understand, you can go into the States, right? I don't think that their borders are closed necessarily. Maybe to certain countries, not to Canadians, though. You can go to the States, you know. And you can come back. So, yes, you can. Go right now. You can buy a ticket. You could go to Vegas. You could go to Vegas this weekend, bro. It's just Americans aren't allowed to come here. But we can go there, and then as Canadians, we're allowed to come back. You're allowed. I mean, didn't we just talk to Charles Jourdain like 2 weeks ago, who was in Montreal and then went to Vegas? And now you're saying nobody can. Yeah, so what?
No, but
you don't need a visa. AJ, I'm telling you. You could go to America right now. You could go right now. You're allowed.
I don't
go.
know about that.
Go.
I don't want to.
Just quarantine when you come back, though. 14 days, okay?
Been 3 months I've been quarantined.
I saw a crazy stat today. In Australia, huge country, they only have 103 COVID deaths. And in New Zealand, where he's from, they only have 22 COVID deaths. So I'm wondering if maybe he was lucky and able to continue his training. Was he like, I don't know how the situation is over there. So hopefully he comes in ready. But I still got Poirier to win that fight. I think Poirier is a better fighter, period. And he hasn't been in the cage since Khabib, so I expect him to be hungry. Poirier, his name, he was kind of a player. He was kind of getting some steam behind him. People were liking him, so he needs a win to keep that going and get some other big fights. If Poirier could beat Hooker this weekend, he's in line for a big fight next. So I got Poirier being hungry and probably finishing him.
But what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You can't have him fighting Khabib right away. That's the problem. The only thing I can see is if Poirier wins, then I can see him having a fight with Ferguson, which makes sense. But let's not forget, you're right. Poirier, you know what?
Conor. Conor. Give him Conor.
It could be Conor. But then again, it really depends on this whole visa coming in from other countries still, Dave. There's still a lot of question marks on that.
If Dan Hooker can get a visa, I'm pretty sure Conor McGregor can get one too, okay? Dustin Poirier is minus 230, the favorite. Dan Hooker plus 190, the underdog. I agree with Freddie. I'm going with Dustin Poirier for the win. I just think that he's a cut above. The only thing I worry about with Poirier is the wear and tear. He's only 31, but by God has he gone through some vicious fights. The Pettis fight was rough. The Gaethje fight was rough. The Eddie Alvarez fight was wild. The Max Holloway fight, 5 rounds of fury. Like, he has been through the ringer in his past 5 fights. And then he fought Khabib Nurmagomedov. Like, he's not had an easy run. And sometimes, like, the wheels just fall off. At 31, I don't think the wheels are going to fall off quite yet with Dustin Poirier. But, man, he's been through some car crashes. Gaethje, Alvarez, Holloway, Khabib Nurmagomedov. I mean, geez, brother, this guy has been through a lot in his past 4 fights. He's won most of them, but, he hasn't had an easy time, and it's tough. It's mentally and physically draining to go through fights like that. That's the only thing I wonder about with Dustin. I think he is all around the better fighter, but Dan Hooker is tough, and it's not going to be an easy out for him.
Look, Dave, this guy's been around he's been fighting for decades, and you got to give Poirier credit. He's been doing mixed martial arts since he was 17 years old. And look where he is today. He's fought the best of the best, and as a contender, he's ranked number 2. This guy, man, if Khabib wasn't there, he would be the champion. He's that good. And you know what? Look, if you look at Justin Gaethje's fight, man, that was such a technical fight. He really, played a smart game against Gaethje. And Gaethje's going to be fighting Khabib next. Poirier beat him. So you know what? Anything could happen. I can see Poirier getting another chance to fight either against Gaethje or against Khabib in the months to come. Because Poirier, in my opinion, is a true champion, man. He's really done. He's gone through all kinds of things to get to where he is today. And improvement has been incredible.
I'm surprised AJ's not picking up the hooker.
Yeah,
Picking the
AJ.
hooker.
Classic AJ.
Yeah.
I like this fight. I think this is a really good main event. And honestly, all month, this is one of the better main events. Like last week, the Blades Volkov, Week before, I versus Calvillo, This one, Dan Hooker, Dustin Poirier, hell yeah. That's a good main event. The rest of the card...
No, it's good.
Well, you're not interested in Jordan Griffin and Youssef Zalal?
Who?
How about Mike Perry and Mickey
Takashi
Gall, man? That'll be
Sato.
an interesting fight.
Bah. Come on, man. Those guys
Takashi
are...
Sato and Ramiz Bramaj.
Yeah, I never heard of
Rahimaj.
those guys. I don't know who half of these guys are.
How about Platinum Perry versus Mickey Gall, man? That'll be a good fight.
Yeah, it's all right, but I'm not really impressed with Mike Perry. He's a gimmick. He's not great.
AJ, if you're not on the chat during the co-main event to comment on that fight, I'm going to call you out next week. Because last week, man, you weren't there for the fights. It was me and Dave talking about it. So I'm going to call you out. If you're not there to watch Mickey Gall and Mike Perry live with us, because I'll be watching. I'm always watching.
Yeah, me too.
But if you're not
I'm
there,
always watching.
call you out.
I'll be watching,
I
but
watch them all the time.
Yeah, right, AJ. I'm not super impressed with Mickey Gall being a co-main event. The guy's biggest accomplishment is beating CM Punk. Get the fuck out of here. I don't want to see that shit. Mickey Gall and Mike Perry. It's two gimmicks. It's not a real fucking main event. It's bullshit, bro. Fuck this card. This card sucks.
No.
The main event's good. The rest of the card sucks balls.
No. That's going to be fireworks.
Yeah,
man,
he
that
beat
fight.
Sage
There's no doubt about it.
Northcutt. Who cares?
Yeah.
Fuck. Who cares?
I care. I thought Sage Northcutt was going to be like a future champion, but you know what?
Yeah, well, you thought a lot of people would be future champions, and you're always fucking wrong.
No. Listen, I'm going to tell you something. First of all, just to let you know, Platinum Perry is going to have absolutely no one in his corner. He's not going to have a coach. He's not going to have a corner man. He's only going to have his girlfriend. And I was listening to some other networks, and they were talking about, why do you need a coach in the corner? And I was flipping out. I was like, are these guys, like, do they know anything about mixed martial arts? Have they ever been in a ring? Have they been in an octagon? And they're like, you don't need a coach. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. The coach is not going to be in the ring. But the coach is the guy that brought you up to this particular moment. And he's the guy that sometimes throws out suggestions where you don't even think about it. And it happens in jiu-jitsu.
Okay, how about this? Do you see last week, the guy there on the prelims of the UFC? What happens when your coach tells you, fucking go back out there, and you're like, I'm done. Call it. And he's like, no, keep fighting. And you're like, no, call it. And the coach is like, no, you're good. You're going to go back. You're going to fucking win. He's like, fucking call it. Did you see that last week? The fighter was like, yo, I'm done, man. I don't want to fight anymore. And the coach was like, you fucking go out there and you keep fighting. And then the ref came at the end of the break, and it's about to go to the third round. He's like, you want to keep going? He's like, no, call it. I'm fucking done. So the fighter, all he had to say was tell the ref, and the ref was like, yeah, cool. But the corner was like, apparently the corner took a lot of heat. I understand, man. I don't really think that a corner should be forcing the guy to go out. Look, he says call it the first time, try to motivate him, push him, He says call it the second time, maybe keep motivating him. He says call it 3, 4, 5 times, then you might think, shit, man, I should probably call it. No?
Look, and it's unfortunate. I'm going to tell you something. That guy, Max Roshkoff, first of all, as a fighter goes, there's a lot of promise on this guy. This guy, his jiu-jitsu skills are through the roof. You know what? It was just one of those fights where, and I'm telling you, Freddie, the guy The guy is good. But the thing is that, you know what? He realized,
Come on, AJ, now.
listen, man, listen. Shit
He
happens,
got
man.
dominated. Let's be honest here. We're still
He got
analysts here.
dominated. You don't know. He got dominated. But the thing is that, you
I'm
know
gonna
what?
give him
He
props.
called it.
I'm gonna
Yeah, give
I'm
him
gonna give him
props.
props for standing up to everybody and quitting on his own, man. Like, he knew he wasn't in it, so props to him to not like feeling the peer pressure of the coach and going back in. Unfortunately, I think many people will feel the pressure of the coach and will just go get another beating. So yeah, I think his corner could have been a little bit more like alert to what was happening. Like, he wasn't going anywhere. He was getting dominated. He was getting hurt for nothing. That's the perfect situation where you got to throw in the towel, live to fight another day. Don't get extra damage for nothing. That's my personal opinion on it.
Yep.
Look, he
Listen
did
to the
right.
fighter.
He did right. No, absolutely. You got to listen to the fighter and you got to listen to your coaches, but you still need a coach in your corner to direct you in ways that sometimes you can't see things. And you know what? This is another case where the coach wanted him in. He didn't want to go, and that's it. He made that decision, and I hope the UFC gives him an opportunity to fight again. Because you know what? It happens. And we could say the same thing about Tony Ferguson's fight, where people were like, oh, throw in the towel, throw in the towel. But you know what? He continued, man. And you know what? It's
I don't know. That's a bit different.
We see, it's a bit different, but you know what? It's a hard call at times.
Let me tell you about our friends over at Stitcher Premium. All right. Now, a lot of you have been listening or streaming or downloading our shows over on Stitcher. Stitcher Premium, Wrestling Uncensored. We've got Ringside Report MMA, this very show. Now, Stitcher are offering you the Ringside Report universe. As part of their sponsorship of our work, a special offer on the premium version of their service. Besides all of our shows, you can listen to over 100,000 podcasts on your iPhone, Android, tablet, PC, Amazon Echo device, or in your car, on demand, ad-free with Stitcher Premium. You've got Stitcher Originals, bonus episodes, comedy albums, and more. Just $4.99 a month, $34.99 a year. Go to Stitcher.com/premium to sign up today. Stitcher.com/premium. Sign up today and use the promo code RINGSIDE for a free month of Stitcher Premium. Use that promo code RINGSIDE for a free month of Stitcher Premium. Sign up today. And I also want to tell you about our friends over at IPVanish. You need a secure VPN. You need to stay safe on the internet. And right now, through the month of June almost over here, it's the 25th. Get ready. You need to sign up to IPVanish. Go to vpn.ringsidereport.net. It is $5, a permanent discount, $5 a month. Secure yourself on the internet. Stay safe. And use IPVanish. vpn.ringsidereport.net. Guys, before we wrap up the show, there's a UFC 251 promo out, and I want to play that promo, and I want to make fun of it and talk about how stupid and tone deaf it is. A 2-minute promo.
Is it the one where Dana?
Yes.
It's a love fest for Dana.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Can we shit on that?
Let's see this.
Can we shit on that before we end the show, Fred? Are you good with that?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Be nice to Dana.
Fuck Dana. He's an idiot. Fucking Dana White hero shots there. You see Dana White like...
No, Saint
Dana. Yeah.
Dana.
All the sports are down, but here's Dana. We could do it, you fucking goofs. I mean, come on. I was wondering if it was going to be an afternoon card because it's in Abu Dhabi, but they only do it in the afternoon so that the fans there can watch it. But they're not going to be any fans, so it's for the pay-per-view audience. They can't have a pay-per-view in the mid-afternoon, especially a 3-title fight pay-per-view. It's going to be on at night. Let's see the end of this stupid promo.
Yes.
You're excited?
And actually, Paige Vanzant is also on that card, so
yes.
We do know who she's fighting next. It's Amanda Ribas, 9-1.
Yep, she's going to be fighting on that card, and it's going to be a tough one for her. But like the Dana White hero shots in the beginning, all the sports shut down. We're going to do this. Here's Dana like marching in the darkness. Fuck out of here with that bullshit. That was crazy.
America, man.
That was
Captain
ridiculous.
Who came up with the concept?
I don't know. We'll do a
Listen,
watch along. We'll do a watch along for UFC 251, right? July 11th, we'll be here.
It's a great card, huh?
Fred might not be here, though. Fred,
Donnie
you might not be
North
here.
Is saying, well, I'm going to be via whatever disc we're using, VMix call, whatever.
Yeah, but wait.
I am going to be there.
You are? I thought maybe baby...
It's more around the 27th, so I think I'll be all right. Of
well,
course,
last
if
time
the
we talked
baby's
about
there,
this.
I'm not.
Last time we talked about this, you're like, oh, I don't know, maybe. So,
Well, we never know, man. I mean,
I know.
we're at that stretch where the baby can come whenever, but it's more around the 27 that he's due. So.
Okay. So we will all be here for a UFC 251 watch along on July 11th for that super card from Fight
studio.
Island. No, you're not allowed in studio. You've been banned from the studio. I don't think I can have you over, AJ. I don't know. We'll get you back soon.
Let's
one
do
day.
a poker night.
How?
I don't know, man. I miss our poker nights.
I know, me too. I miss partying with you guys. I miss hanging out, We'll do it again one day. Okay, guys.
There has to be a way to do it on one of those poker games online.
Yeah, I'm sure we could do that.
Freddie, man.
Fred, you're good at the internet. Can't you figure that out for me and AJ?
I was going to say, AJ, figure it out.
Oh.
Just before the show, you said, where you guys at? Because you were scared that AJ would be late, but you said you guys. And I said, I'm never late. I'm always there on time, and I'm always there to do what I have to do.
Yeah.
But I don't do extra.
That's it.
I don't do extra.
You could count on me for the bare minimum.
That's it. AJ's not always on time, but he'll do extra. See, that's the difference. Well, it's true.
What?
Remember
that worker in Galveston?
Remember that poker game when it was supposed to start at like 7 and you didn't show up till like 9 and we're like, where have you been? And you're like,
I got caught up in traffic.
No, you
I got
were
stuck behind that train.
You were at AJ's bar like a block away.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It got a little crazy there.
Yeah.
AJ's bar, but AJ's.
Look, I want to thank Phil Gelinas for coming on the show tonight. Go check out the Gamma Gym. Go to MontrealMartialArts.com for more information there. You want to do some Muay Thai? You want to get back into some martial arts? Gamma is open for business. MontrealMartialArts.com. Go there right now. Go to RingsideReport.net as well. That is our website. The hell was that, AJ?
That wasn't me, man.
Oh, was that Fred?
No, that was AJ.
That was definitely AJ. All right, go to RingsideReport.net. That is our website and everything we have there. I will be talking about Jim Cornette tomorrow. He responded to the allegations, and we will hear from Jim Cornette tomorrow. I'll talk about that on Dave and Johnny Live tomorrow, 12:45. Coronavirus is striking the WWE. We'll talk about that as well. Renee Young has coronavirus. By God. And
last week I felt bad batting on your show because I join in and you're talking about Corn. I go like, hey, there's some freaks out there, so maybe Cornette, he's one of those freaks. I'm not saying. But right after that, you went to some real serious talk about like all the people getting like accused of worse things than that. So
yes.
That comment, I felt bad. I'm like, yeah, those people aren't freaks. They're awful people.
They're victims. A lot of the people are victims, And yeah, the people that are victimizing them are terrible. And the wrestling business got a huge wake-up call over the past week. We talked about it on Dave and Johnny Live last week. We'll talk about it a little bit more tomorrow. I took a lot of heat. If you guys see the YouTube comments, took a lot of heat. A lot of people saw it. A lot of people were mad at me. Some people were supportive. Some people were mad. It happens. The bigger you are, the more hate you will get. And that's okay. That comes with the territory. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Send your hate my way at Dave Simon MMA. Follow AJ on all the things at Danny Bruck. And you can follow Freddie on Twitter at Freddie MMA. Until next week, I'll be back with Dave and Johnny Live tomorrow. We will all be back next week for Ringside Report MMA. Thanks to Phil Gelinas for coming on the show. For Freddie and AJ, I'm Dave. And this has been Ringside Report.
Port.